Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave division rivals stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you might just shake up the entire NFC East and honestly the NFL landscape as a whole. Rumors are swirling that the Washington Commanders are in serious talks to acquire none other than Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, you heard that right. The same Myles Garrett who's been a dominant force on Cleveland's defensive line since he entered the league. This potential trade could be a game changer, and it's got everyone talking across the league and among fans alike. Sources close to the league have indicated that the Commanders are deep into negotiations, with insiders whispering that a deal might be finalized before the trade deadline on November 4th. The buzz is that Washington is willing to send a first-round pick in the 2026 draft along with some additional picks to Cleveland in exchange for Garrett. This isn't just a move for a veteran pass rusher. It's a statement of intent, a clear message that Washington is ready to push all in for immediate defensive reinforcements. The Browns, on the other hand, are looking to shed cap space, around $25 million, to bolster their offensive line after a disappointing 6-11 season in 2025, during which they allowed an average of 32 points per game and struggled mightily on defense. But why would Cleveland be so eager to part ways with Garrett? Well, the Browns are in a strategic rebuild phase after a tumultuous 2025 season. Their defense, which was supposed to be a strength, underperformed significantly. The team's defensive metrics in 2025 tell a compelling story. They ranked 28th in DVOA, Football Outsiders, defense-adjusted value over average, reflecting their struggles against both the run and pass. They allowed an alarming 4.8 yards per carry, which ranked among the worst in the league, and their pass defense surrendered an average of 245 yards per game, ranking 22nd overall. These stats highlight the urgent need for reinforcements on the defensive front, especially given the team's goal to contend again in the next few seasons. Myles Garrett's role in Cleveland's defense has been nothing short of spectacular. Since being drafted first overall in the 2017 NFL Draft out of Texas A&M, Garrett has established himself as one of the premier pass rushers in the league. His blend of size, speed, and technique makes him virtually unblockable at times. Over his career, he's accumulated nearly 100 sacks, with 86. 5 sacks through the end of 2025, and has consistently been among the league leaders in quarterback hits and pressures. In 2025 alone, Garrett recorded an incredible 18 sacks, 42 quarterback hits, and forced 6 fumbles, all while maintaining a PFF grade of 92. 4. A testament to his dominance and consistency. What makes Garrett so valuable is just his sack totals but his overall disruptive presence. His EPA, expected points added, per pressure stood at an eye-popping -0. 45 in 2025, meaning he was nearly having the expected points against offenses when he was rushing the passer. His ability to collapse the pocket and force hurried throws or sacks makes him a nightmare for quarterbacks. His impact extends beyond individual stats. When Garrett is on the field, the entire defensive line benefits. Opposing offenses have to account for him on every snap, which can open up opportunities for teammates like Darren Payne, Montez Sweat, and Jamin Davis to make plays. Now, shifting focus to Cleveland's perspective. After a disappointing 2025 season, the Browns are in a bit of a crossroads. The team's record of 6-11 was a major setback, especially considering their expectations coming into the season. The Browns' defense, which was supposed to be a cornerstone, failed to meet expectations, ranking among the bottom 5 in multiple categories. The team's head coach, Kevin Stefanski, and GM Andrew Berry are under pressure to make bold moves to re-establish a winning culture. Trading Garrett, despite his outstanding performance, can be viewed as a strategic move to free up cap space, which is crucial for the team's future plans. Cleveland is currently facing a tight cap situation, with only about $10 million left for extensions and signings, which limits their flexibility. Moving Garrett could free up roughly $22 million in cap space, giving them more room to bolster other areas, like offensive line, wide receiver, or secondary. The Browns are also looking to the future, with young players like quarterback Deshaun Watson and wide receiver Amari Cooper. While Watson's development has been uneven, the team remains optimistic about his potential. Cleveland's leadership recognizes that a successful rebuild requires not just acquiring young talent, but also making strategic veteran trades. The move for Garrett fits into that logic. They're prioritizing cap flexibility and draft capital to accelerate their rebuild. Turning back to Washington, the potential acquisition of Garrett could be transformational. The Commanders currently have about $35 million in cap space, which gives them some room to maneuver. Adding a player of Garrett's caliber would significantly upgrade their defensive front, which has been decent but not quite elite. The Commanders' run defense has allowed an average of 4.8 yards per carry, which is below league average, and their pass rush has been inconsistent. They currently rank 18th in sacks, with 22 total, but adding Garrett could push that number close to 36 sacks, a massive leap that could change the entire complexion of their defense. Imagine Garrett lining up opposite Montez Sweat and Darren Payne. That's an offensive nightmare. Sweat, who recorded 5 sacks in 2025, would benefit greatly from the attention Garrett would command, freeing him up to rush the passer more freely. Darren Payne, the stout interior lineman, would also benefit from Garrett's presence, as teams would have to double-team him less often. The result could be a defense that causes chaos for opposing quarterbacks, especially in high-pressure situations like third and long or red zone scenarios. Furthermore, Garrett's leadership and veteran presence are invaluable. He's known for his work ethic and high football IQ, which could positively influence the younger players on Washington's roster, including first-round pick Jalen Carter or recent draft selections like Emmanuel Forbes and Darrell Washington. His experience in high-stakes games, including playoff runs with Cleveland, would be a tremendous asset for a team eager to make a deep postseason push. In terms of statistics, Garrett's presence could elevate Washington's defense significantly. For example, in games where Garrett has been active, Cleveland's pass rush win rate, the percentage of snaps where they generate pressure or sack the quarterback, was around 30%. Without him, that rate dipped to about 22%. Improving this metric could be the key to unlocking more turnovers, as increased pressure often leads to interceptions and fumbles. The Commanders' defense forced 18 turnovers in 2025, but with Garrett, projections suggest that number could easily increase to 28 or even 30, providing more short field opportunities for the offense. Speaking of the offense, Washington's attack has shown flashes but remains inconsistent. Sam Howell, their young quarterback, demonstrated promising mobility and arm strength, but he also made some costly mistakes. Adding a dominant defensive force like Garrett could help the team win more close games, especially by keeping opponents, scoring in check, and providing more opportunities for Howell to operate with less pressure. Let's analyze the broader implications. The NFC East has historically been a fiercely competitive division, with teams like the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, and New York Giants vying for supremacy. The Eagles, reigning Super Bowl champions, boast a formidable defense led by stars like Jalen Carter and Fletcher Cox, and a high-powered offense with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. The Cowboys, with Micah Parsons and an aggressive defense, are always in the mix. For Washington to break through and compete for the division crown, bolstering their defense is critical. Garrett could be the missing piece that finally gives Washington the push they need to challenge the elite. In terms of playoff prospects, if Washington manages to acquire Garrett, their Super Bowl odds could see a substantial boost. Currently, their odds are around plus 12-0, reflecting an outside shot at the title. But with Garrett, those odds might improve to plus 400-500 or even lower, depending on how the rest of the team shapes up. His presence could be especially impactful in the playoffs, where pass-rush dominance often determines success. Imagine a playoff game against a high-powered team, with Garrett leading a relentless pass rush that saps the energy from the opposition's offensive line and forces turnovers. That scenario is not just hopeful speculation. It's a real possibility if the trade materializes. This move also echoes some historic NFL trades that dramatically shifted team fortunes. Recall when Khalil Mack was traded from the Raiders to the Bears in 2018. That move instantly transformed Chicago's defense into one of the league's best, and they went on to make the playoffs that year. Garrett's impact could be similar, a catalyst for a renaissance in Washington defensive history. The franchise has had periods of defensive excellence, such as in the 1980s and early 2000s, but has struggled to recapture that elite status in recent years. A trade for Garrett could be the first step in a new defensive era, one that emphasizes pass rush and aggressive front seven play. Of course, there are risks involved. The salary cap implications are significant, and integrating Garrett into the team's scheme requires careful planning. His contract, which is currently set for about $16 million annually, could be restructured or extended to fit into Washington's long-term plan. Additionally, injury concerns always loom. Garrett battled some injuries in 2023, including a shoulder injury that kept him out for 12 games, but when healthy, he's a game wrecker. The team must also consider whether they're willing to part with a high first-round pick in 2026, which could be used to select a franchise cornerstone or multiple contributors. But the upside is undeniable. A line featuring Garrett, Sweat, and Payne would be among the most feared in the league, capable of generating consistent pressure and disrupting offenses at every level. The secondary, led by young stars like Forbes, would benefit from more QB-hurried throws and interceptions, creating a domino effect of improved overall defense. Moreover, this move could send a message to the rest of the league. Washington is not content with mediocrity. They're serious about building a championship-caliber team. The front office, led by owner Daniel Snyder's successor and new GM, has shown a willingness to make bold moves, and acquiring Garrett would be a statement of their ambitions. In the grand scheme, this trade could redefine the NFC East hierarchy. The division has been dominated by the Eagles in recent years, but with the addition of Garrett, Washington could challenge that dominance, making the division even more competitive. The Giants and Cowboys are not sitting still, and the NFL is a league where one move can alter the balance of power, a lesson the Bears learned when they acquired Mack, or when the Rams traded for Jalen Ramsey. Looking ahead, the future for Washington appears promising if this move happens. Their young roster, led by Howell, and the strategic addition of a superstar like Garrett, could accelerate their rebuild and make them perennial playoff contenders. Their fan base, hungry for a return to glory, would be energized, and the team could become a nightmare for offenses across the league. In conclusion, this isn't just a rumor. It's a potential seismic shift in the NFL landscape. The Commanders, with their cap space and their vision for the future, could very well be on the verge of making a move that defines their next decade. Myles Garrett is not just a player, he's a game changer, a difference maker who could turn Washington into a Super Bowl contender overnight. The NFL is always about the next move, and it looks like the Commanders are ready to make theirs. The stakes are high, the implications enormous, and the fans are buzzing with anticipation. Stay tuned because this story is far from over, and it might just be the start of a new chapter for Washington Commanders football. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think adding Myles Garrett would propel Washington into Super Bowl contention? Or are there concerns about the cap or how he'd fit into the scheme? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of this team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. Together, we're building something special, and this potential move might just be the spark we've been waiting for. Let's go, Commanders!